In this lesson, we will be fixing the login and sign up issue in our app. So whenever a new account was created or a new account was logged in our login and sign up page. So let's log this account out and let me log in with another account. So the clip by. So if I click at this login button, there will be a few seconds delay before we are actually forwarded into this splash screen again, and this is because Firebase authentication requires some time for authenticating the user, and in that time we are not providing any indication that the account is being logged, so it looks like the app has freezed. So for that, let's create a loading state indicator in this login screen. So for that, let's create a new variable here. So bool is loading. I could also name this variable is logging in, but is loading seems alright, and this will be set to false as default. So now let's use this is loading and conditionally render widget. So if there is true in this is loading, then display this circular progress indicator, and if not, display the text widget login. So at the on press of this login button, let's change this is loading to true, and we also need to notify the state about it. So let's use set state here. And after the login process has been completed, let's set this loading to false and set state. Alright, so this login function will take some time, so let's use await statement here and change this function to async. So now if I log in the account, click at this login button, then circular progress indicator is displayed, and then after some time I am forwarded into this splash screen. So now let's change the color of circular progress indicator to white. Alright, and let's provide some padding in this indicator. Now let's log out this account and log in again. So now it's looking great. And now you can do the same for this sign up screen as well. Create a new boolean is loading, and then copy this code from login and paste it in this sign up create account button. So here create account, and then set this state to true, set state, use async and await and set it to false. Log this account out, create a new account, fill up this form, and now if I click at this button, you can see this progress indicator here. So that's it for this lesson, and in the next lesson we will be working on chat room page. So I'll see you at the next lesson. In this lesson we will be working on chat room page. So navigate into leave screens and let's create a new screen here. So new file chatroom underscore screen dot. Now let's create a stateful widget here. and name this widget, this class, to chatroom page or chatroom screen. Alright, so when a user clicks at this chatroom, I want to open up this chatroom screen. So let's move into this dashboard screen, and in this list style I'll be creating on tap argument and pass anonymous function for now. Alright, and now I want to navigate user to another page, so let's copy this navigator code and paste it over here, and this will be the chatroom screen. Now let's import this chatroom screen, and we don't want this push and remove until, instead we will be just using this push. So remove this third argument. ID for getting the chat messages. Now let's work on creating this chat room page. Alright, so let's remove this text widget and create a column over here, because we will need the list view here, and here will be the send message text field and the button. So column, and then column will have a children, and this children, the first element will be the list view. So let's wrap it with an expanded widget. chatroom page, and we have retrieved the chatroom name and chatroom ID from the database as well. So in the next lesson, we will be working on sending chat messages. So I'll see you at the next lesson. In this lesson, we will be working on sending chat messages into the database. For that, let's navigate into this chatroom screen and let's decorate this chat Now if I click at this, so in the debug console I am getting some errors, and this is because in this provider we are not using this listen and setting it to false. So whenever you are calling this provider from outside of build method, you should be setting this listen to false. So now let me try sending the message again, and now there are no errors here. Let's move into the database, refresh the page, and now we have new collection of messages here, and this document ID is automatically assigned, and we have this map object over here. So the Gmail, which is a sender name, is sending this message into this chatroom ID. So now when the message is sent to the database, I want to clear the value of this text field. So after the message has been sent, let's clear this text field using message text dot text equals to empty string. Alright. Now let's try sending another message. Another message. Send. So this has been cleared. Let's move into the database. And here you can see new document ID has been created with the map object, and we are also able to reset the text field. Alright. But now if I try to send an empty string over here, this data is still being sent, but I want to restrict it. If you look into the database, we have this new ID created, and here you can see we have the empty chat message text. So let's restrict it. And I don't want to show any validation message over here because it will mess up our design. So instead of wrapping this with the form and then validating it, we'll keep this validation inside of this send message function. So if message text dot is empty, so if the text is empty, then only return from this statement. Do not run this. Alright. So save the code. And now if I send this message without typing anything, now if you look into the database, new data has not been created. So for data to be created, we need to provide some text over here. And if you don't want form validation, then you can check the validation directly from inside of a function. Alright. And this function might take some time. So let's use await statement here and make this function an async function. And as this function is async, we need to wrap this with the future. But if you are not planning to call this function from anywhere, just the button click, then you can just keep it a void function. But the best practice is to wrap this with the future keyword. Alright. So if I had in any of my lesson forgot this, then you can wrap it with the future. Alright. It is a best practice. And while adding the message into the database, it might fail sometime. So let's wrap it with try catch if you want to show any error message if we cannot send this message into the database. Try catch, and you can write your logic over here. For now, I will not be writing anything inside of this catch block. Alright. But if you want to show an error message, you are free to write your code inside of this catch block. So now let's try sending another message. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let's send it. Look into the database. And here we have this new document ID with the text. So everything is working fine. So in the next lesson, we will be working on retrieving the messages or retrieving the data from the database. And this time we will be fetching the data from the database in real time. So I'll see you at the next lesson. In this lesson, we will be working on fetching chat messages in our global chat app. Now to typically get the data from database, we use this .get function, right? But this .get only gets the data once. But instead of only getting data once, we need to continuously listen for new messages in database. So whenever user sends a new message, it's retrieved instantly in real time. Alright. Now we could use a timer and fetch new data every second using this .get and then display the data. But that will take up a lot of resources in our database, and our app will eventually crash due to memory leak issues. So we need a way to listen changes into the database in real time. And we can do that using a special widget called Stream Builder. Stream Builder is a special kind of widget that can listen for the data changes in real time, and if the data is changed, it can rebuild itself automatically. So let's use this special widget in our chat room page. So navigate into this chat room screen, and here we have this expanded widget. So let's use Stream Builder over here. Stream Builder. And this widget has one required argument called builder. Now this builder has a callback function, and there are two required arguments inside of it. First one is the context, and second one is the snapshot. And from this callback function, we need to return a widget. So for now, let's just return a dummy text widget. Now in this stream builder, we need an important argument called stream. And this stream is the place from which we can listen to the data changes. So it is like a source of the data. So we need to pass the collection over here in this stream. So we already have the access to this database, right? So we can pass this database db.collection, and then we are trying to get the messages from the messages collection. So db.collection messages, then dot snapshot. All right. So this is the source of the stream. So now stream builder will look for the data changes in this collection, and when the data is changed, this builder function is executed and the updated data is available on this snapshot argument. Alright. So whenever there is a change in this collection, say a new data is added, data is removed, data is edited, and so on, this builder function will get recalled, and then the widgets inside of it will get rebuilt. So we do not have to use set state for displaying the changes in this stream. And this snapshot callback value of this builder function will hold the updated data of the stream. Alright. But the actual data or the map object that we need to display it over here will be inside of this snapshot.data.docs. So let's create a new variable over. Almost instantly within few milliseconds, right? So this is how a stream builder works. And as Firebase database supports real time, we are getting the data updates in real time. So whenever a new data is added, modified, or removed from this collection, stream builder will instantly get the update and rebuild the widget inside of this builder function. Alright. So let me show you how powerful this stream builder is. conditions in our query to display only the chat messages relevant to a certain chat room. Alright, so I'll see you at the next lesson. In the previous lesson, we used Stream Builder for displaying chat messages in real time. But as we are not checking any conditions for messages, no matter in which chat room you send chat message, it's being displayed in every chat room. So in this lesson, we'll be working with conditions in query. Alright. Now before we work on query conditions, let's first work on error handling in Stream Builder. Say for instance, there is some issue with this collection, or there is some issue in my Firebase account. So whenever we are trying to build this stream, if the connection cannot be built or there are some issues in this connection, then this stream will throw some errors. We need to catch or handle that error gracefully. Is error in the snapshot, then the list view will not be rendered. Alright. Instead, a text widget will be rendered from this function as we are using this early return. Alright. So if a snapshot has error, then return text widget, otherwise return this list view builder. So let's save the code. And for debugging the issue, let's use print statement and pass snapshot dot error over here, so that when there is a error in the stream or the snapshot, we get the error in our debug console. Alright. So now let's work on conditionally querying the database. For that, you can use this dot where. So the first argument of this dot where is the field name. So we are trying to get the messages from a specific chatroom ID. So where chatroom underscore ID. So in the database, you can see that we have this chatroom ID in this map object. So where chatroom ID the widget dot chatroom ID. Alright. So now instead of listening to all the messages of the messages collection, we'll only be listening to those messages where this chatroom ID matches with the current chatroom ID. So now let's save the code. And here you can see that we have got an error in our snapshot. So this has been triggered. So let's look into the debug console and see what's the error. So let me expand this a little bit. So here you can see that the query requires an index. So whenever you are querying the database using a certain condition, then the index needs to be created in the Firestore database. Alright. And it is mandatory for creating this index if you want to use this condition. And Firebase has made it easier to create required indexes. So you are seeing this link over here. Copy this link and paste it in your browser. Make sure that this browser has your Firebase account logged in. Alright. So the URL that we copied will now try to create an index that is required for the condition. Alright. So click at save, and now the index will be created within few minutes. Alright. So you can have a look at this status. It's currently building, and this might take up to 5 minutes or more. You can keep on switching the tab to see the status. Alright. Once it's done, then the query of our Flutter app will work fine. So once the status has been changed to enable, let's move into our app. And now if I navigate into any chat room, then I'll be getting the chat messages over here. And this time we are only getting messages of that specific chat room. So click at Node.js, and you are seeing this Node.js that we sent previously. And this Node.js is no longer appearing in this Flutter developers chat room. So the index that we just created is only for this condition. But if you change the condition, say for instance want to filter these messages by the sender name, then new index needs to be created. Alright. And whenever a new required index needs to be created, you will get an error on this snapshot, and so you will be getting an error on your debug console, and there will be a link for that creating that index. So you can click at that link, copy or paste it in the browser and create an index, and after that index is enabled, your query should work fine. And if you want to have multiple condition over here, then you can chain another condition over here by using this dot where. and write another condition over here, and you can keep on changing the condition, but all the condition will require an index. Create that index and everything should work fine. So now to check the messages, let's launch up another emulator. If you have only one emulator created, then you can go ahead in Android Studio and create another emulator. Alright, so Control Shift P. If you have another emulator, you can launch that. So launch emulator, and I have this two emulator over here. This is the first emulator, so let me launch this one. So once the emulator is launched, click at your status bar over here and then select the new emulator. So this is the new emulator, click at it and now start debugging. Control Shift P, start debugging. So now I'll minimize this VS Code to check the chat functionality from these two emulators. So in this emulator I am logged in as gmail@gmail.com. So let me create a new account here. Create account. Forward it into splash screen and then forward it into the dashboard, and now I have this Susan logged in here. So let's move into this Node.js developer chat room, and here hello Gmail, and the message is displayed here almost instantly within few milliseconds. Alright, so everything is working great. So if you want to limit the messages that is displayed over here or the messages that this stream gets, you can use this dot limit and provide a number to it. So if I only want 5 messages, dot limit 5, this will only give me the latest 5 messages. Alright, so 1 2 3 4 5, this should be removed. So this is how you conditionally query a database for getting the desired results. Alright, so that's it for this lesson, and in the next lesson we will be working on formatting these chat messages. So I'll see you at the next lesson. In this lesson we will be designing this chat room page and then we will wrap up this project. Alright, so the first thing that I want to do here is to display own messages at the right side and other people's messages at the left side. Alright, for that I need to detect the user and display messages accordingly, right? But currently to detect a user we only have this sender name. But there can be multiple users with the same name in a chat room, right? So if there is any user with the same name in my chat room as mine, then I will be getting that user message at the right side. So I don't want that. I want to uniquely identify that user using a user ID. Alright, so let me create a new key over here, sender_ID, which will be the unique ID for all the users, and it is stored in the provider as user ID, right? And now the previous messages do not have any user ID, so let's move into the database and clear everything of the messages collection. So click at the messages and from here you can delete the entire collection. Alright, type messages here and then delete. So once this is deleted, everything is instantly removed from our app, right? And now whenever we create a new data in the messages collection, this data will have a sender ID. And this message to send already has the value kept inside of this map object, so resetting it here. So resetting value here will not be a problem. Alright, so now we have some messages over here. So these two messages are sent by this user that is currently logged in, and these two messages are sent by someone else. So let me send one message again. And now we can work on improving this page. So let's move into the list view builder of the stream. So here it is. and this column is responsible for rendering the message of a user. So let's move this column widget into its own function. So copy this column, better cut it, and then create a widget over here. So widget single chat item, and here we will be returning this column widget. Alright, and now we need some of the variables here. So the first variable that we need is the sender name. So let's create it over here, required string sender underscore name. So another variable that we need is the text. So required string text. Now let's replace this with the sender name and then this with the text. Alright, so now let's use this single chat item and keep it as the child of this padding. Right, and the required arguments are the sender name. So the sender name is this all message. So now let's provide some padding in this text. Now let's provide a border radius. So whenever we are trying to use a border radius and this color in this container, we cannot use this color and then the box decoration. So let's change this to decoration and then the box decoration, and from inside of it we can declare the color. So colors dot blue gray highest intensity, and then we have this border radius. Let's set it to border radius dot circular, and here inside of it we need a radius. So let's provide 20 pixel border radius, and now let's increase the padding, make it 12. And it seems like this username and the chat bubble are not aligning, so let's use padding in this text widget. So wrap it with the padding, and this time we will not be using this edgeinstance.all, but we will be using edgeinstance.only. And let's provide left padding to 6 pixel and then the right padding to 6 pixel as well. So this left padding will work for this and right padding will work for this. Alright, so now it's aligning a little bit. And what I want to do now is to change the color of this chat bubble. So if I'm sending the message, then I want it to be gray, but if another user is sending the message, then I want to keep it as it is. So for that we can use this condition and then change this color of this decoration container. So if the sender ID matches the user ID, then the color will be colors.gray, else colors.blue-gray. So colors.gray, let's save it. So now we have this gray over here. Let's decrease the intensity, set it to 300. And now let's use this condition again and change the color of the text. So if this matches, then the color will be black, else colors.white. Alright. So now it's looking perfect. So now let's move into this Flutter developers chat room, and we have no message here. So if there is no message, then we can use conditional rendering for showing that there are no messages over here. So let's move into this list view builder. So first let's check the length of this message. So if all messages dot length is less than 1, then return center widget with the child text widget no messages here. Alright, so let's see what this does. So if there are no messages in the chat room, we'll be getting this no messages here. Let's try sending some messages. So now everything is working fine. And now let's change this limit to 100 so that user will be able to see most of the messages in the chat room. And so this is the end of our global chat app, and there are a lot of improvements that you can make in this app, like allowing user to create chat room, managing user profile, and so much more. And with the knowledge acquired until up to this point, I'm sure you will make a lot of improvements and may even publish this app on Play Store or App Store. So with the end of this app, we have completed a long journey together, and I hope you have learned a lot of things in this course. Thank you for being with me in this journey, and that's it for this course, and I'll see you at some other course.